Hello and welcome to the Lost Spark podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Darren Whittam and the other spark on the podcast is Antony Chesson. This is episode 2 on the 20th of May 2015. Antony, say hello and introduce who we are.
Hello, I'm Antony Chesson and we're the Lost Sparks. We're two seasoned game enthusiasts and our mission is to deliver a weekly podcast to you, our listeners, where we debate the news, the controversies, latest tech and of course games of the moment, the future and the yesteryear. So tune in for all this and hopefully a few laughs along the way as we debate the huge scope that is our favourite pastime.
So Antony, how was your week? It was a busy time getting all this set up and going live, wasn't it? And how do you think the podcast went?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a real busy week. It was quite a good weekend when we were kind of putting the podcast live on both iTunes and Stitcher and also Overcast. It was good fun. I think it went really well. And by the looks of the stats, we've had some really good responses as well. And we've had some fantastic comments too. Yeah,
it certainly seems to be more successful than I expected it to be at this stage. When we went live, it just seemed to... judging by the bandwidth anyway, it seemed that some people are tuning in and having a listen, and that's fantastic.
And it's just great fun as well, isn't it? Don't you think, though? It's just a good laugh just to kind of get out and talk about this awesome pastime.
It's absolutely fantastic to have a channel to just sort of discuss it and vent and just really get into the nitty gritty. That for me personally, I really haven't got another gamer that I can get in this deep with, really. You know, I mean, my wife gets really bored of it, so it's just fantastic that we can just, listeners or no, we can sit here every week and just debate everything that's going on.
Absolutely, and also to our listeners, feel free to give us some feedback at feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Send us an email, let us know what you're thinking, anything you would like us to discuss, talk about, or maybe debate.
Yeah, I did get a little bit of feedback. I did a bit of a PR troll on some of the forums of some of the places that I frequent, and one guy said that he loved the name Gamers of the Lost Spark, which is great. As soon as I said it, he said that was a great name. But the funny thing was, he said you should do a music podcast and call it the Temple of Boom, and I thought that was a class little joke.
Awesome. Okay, so should we get on to what we've been playing?
Yeah, absolutely. What have you been playing then this week, Antony?
Well, I've finally finished Borderlands, the pre-sequel. So gone through that. I have maxed it, not in achievements. I haven't kind of maxed 1,000 achievements or more so for that one because it's got add-ons. But I've done all of the side missions, done all of the DLC, because that came with the pre-sequel, the Handsome Collection. It came with 2 DLCs. You had a Claptrap Fantastic Voyage, and there was also another one called the Holodome or something like that. So I managed to get round all of those, kind of clear everything off my map, because I love just kind of like, accepting missions and then just kind of clearing them off one by one until that map is clear. The cool thing, actually, about Borderlands is kind of on the last stint, we did get a patch came out. So it was a patch from Gearbox. It was about 7 gig patch, but it fixed my main issue with the pre-sequel or the Handsome Collection was that there was a bit of screen tear, more kind of noticeable on the large TV that I've got. There was a bit of screen tear previously, but they've now patched it and it's looking really smooth and it's running amazingly. So unfortunately, it was kind of my last couple of hours of gaming. Words were sweet, but it was very nice. And I don't know if Borderlands are planning any more DLC for the pre-sequel, but it was good fun.
How long's the pre-sequel been out?
Well, I think the pre-sequel came out just before Christmas, didn't it? And then they released, a couple of months ago, they released the Handsome Collection, which was Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel on the next-gen consoles. So it's been out a while. But like I say, the Claptrap Fantastic Voyage, I'm sure it's called, was really good. It was quite funny. It took you back to some original locations from the first Borderlands game. And it was good fun. It was really good. So I've done that one. I've ticked that off. Kind of cleared that one off, so which I'm happy about.
Yeah, that sounds great. And with all the DLC as well, did that mean that it came to more than 1,000 points for the entire package? Gamer score, sorry, for the...
Absolutely. No, I think the achievement kind of gave as well. I think it was kind of up to, I think it was about 1,500 just for the pre-sequel. And the Borderlands games, they always seem to max out the the amount of achievements you can have. So, but no, it was good fun. It was well worth the money. I was enjoying it. We may go back to Borderlands 2, or we may actually just use the cloud save, because you can save your game from the Xbox 360 and then port it over to the Xbox One or the PS4. So we may do that, but I've got another game that's taking a lot of my focus that we'll talk about later on.
I think we will, in a little while,
Absolutely. And if you see the title of the podcast, you probably guess what that is already. But one of the other game that I've been playing, and it's always the way, lots of good games come out at once. I've been playing the House of Wolves expansion for Destiny. This came out on the same day that Witcher 3 came out, but it's so far it's great. I'm playing that kind of co-op. We're going through it, and the House of Wolves DLC or expansion, it gives you new missions. So there's lots of kind of story missions. It opens up a new hub world that's in Venus, in the Reef. Sorry, not Venus, it's in the Reef, and it also there's lots of extra loot. There's some new arenas, some new gear. It's a really nice expansion, and I don't know. It may just be because I haven't dipped into Destiny for a while, but it actually I thought it got a bit of an enhancement in the graphical side, because it just, for some reason, it just looks stunning. Even more so than it did when it first came out.
Oh wow! Well, does it refresh the game? Because I played Destiny up to about level 24, and then I stopped playing it because I just found it got a bit samey. Though I was enjoying the online, which is a rarity for me. I sort of decided. I think for me it's probably a little bit because I just wanted I wanted more variety out of the game. I got a bit fed up of going around on patrol, so I dove into what was it called? The arena. It's got a special name, Crucible or something.
It is. It's the Crucible. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was playing that, and obviously I got completely mullered the first few times, and I was like, the anger came, and I was like, no, stick with it. Remember, you were good once. You were good once at Unreal Tournament. Try. So, and I carried on, and I did improve, and I really got bang into it. I started to get that hook that I used to have. And it always helps if you're starting to do okay. I win. I think I won probably 2 or 3 games at the top of the leaderboard, but that was it out of many, many, many games. But just not coming last for me is kind of a win. But in the end, well, my nephew was hankering for the game, and I just sort of said, "Well, you play it," because I'm playing something else now. So I sort of left it at that point. From what I read, the DLCs have been lackluster. So is this any different?
Well, I mean, so far I'm having fun. I actually enjoyed the previous DLC that came out, only because I enjoy that they've kind of got more story missions, and it just kind of takes you on. So you're right, that grind for the level up, so you can do the raids, was a little less tedious, because you had a story, in quotes, a story kind of pushing you along. And it's the same with the House of Wolves. It's really interesting how there's certain areas in the original maps that suddenly just open up, and then you go down the doorway and you're into this whole new area. It's as if they knew that they were going to do this DLC.
Yeah, as if they planned it.
Exactly. But, I'm glad we're dipping back into it. As I said, there is another game that's taking a lot of my time. But gaming, kind of the co-op gaming with my wife, it's really good, because we're both into Destiny. So we just kind of have that. And then I kind of get some gaming time with the other game that we're going to talk about in a bit.
Absolutely. Cool.
So Darren, what you've been playing? That's kind of me, really. I haven't been in London this week. I've been working from home, so I haven't had a commute game. So what have you been playing, Darren?
Well, I've been playing Spelunky still, but the good news is I have got the last trophy.
You found the aubergine.
Found the aubergine. Yeah, no, I haven't. I'm not even going to try and do that, but I've got the trophy for getting 500,000 gold, which was the last trophy that I had to get. Not probably the last trophy in the order you would expect, or maybe, I don't know. So that was the last thing that I had to do, was get 500,000 gold. I think I mentioned last week that doing the speed run had sort of ruined me on it, because I was sort of too busy rushing, and I ended up just running into traps and things. And I'm not going to go on for half an hour again. See episode 1 if you want to hear me talk about Spelunky for nigh on 20 minutes. Yeah, I got this trophy. I got 500,000 gold. I was very happy. I was proper shaking as I nearly got there. And the icing on the cake was I got the 500,000 gold on the last level beat Olmec, who is like the slightly easier ending to do on Spelunky. So I killed him, got the end credits, so I got the nice little zippy tune. Yeah, I was happy. So that's Spelunky done. I could put it to bed. Though in between Spelunky and something else to play, I had a few days expecting a new game, and I was like, what shall I do? And I couldn't help it when I sat down and picked up the pad. I was like, what shall I play? I'll just play Spelunky. But without the pressure. It was quite nice. So Spelunky's still a favourite. I still seem to be putting it on for the odd game, but I'm not trying my best at trying to get to this certain place, get all these trophies. It's a lot more of a nice experience for me now. Yeah, it was funny because I think it was last night or the night before, I just thought I'd have one quick go, and I got the second furthest that I'd ever got. Yeah, I've completed the whole thing once on this journey to hell. I just thought, I'll have a quick go, and I got to basically the very end of the game, Yama's lair, which is quite difficult to do, and I made a silly mistake and died. But I was like, crikey, can I just do this on a whim now? Wow, I've obviously excelled, and
soon you'll be doing it blindfolded, and backwards,
on a Guitar Hero controller.
Yeah, you're like a Spelunky guru now. You just kind of hover above your sofa as you play it.
Spelunky Zen. Yeah. So my Spelunky journey is complete now, and there's a character in it called Yang who you rescue if you do it the hard way, and I think his speech at the end pretty much sums up Spelunky, and I think it could be a mantra for my reason for playing games, period. And it's that the journey is its own reward, and mastery is the greatest treasure of them all. And I think, there's definitely something in that.
Absolutely.
Because all you do is get rubbish. It's not rubbish, but you get the credits and that, and it's like, I don't know how. It doesn't tell me how many hours I've played that game for, but it must be hours and hours and hours. It's like over 2,000 deaths.
Is there no way on the PlayStation Network to find out how long you've put into Spelunky?
Oh, can you do that? I'll have to.
I don't know. We'll have to check it out, and maybe we'll name it. We'll name and shame you next week.
Yeah. So Spelunky's complete, so that's good. And so then I was sort of like, oh well, I don't know what to play. So I dived into the Unfinished Swan because I'd had a little go as I reviewed it, mini review last week, and I remember you saying that it was really good and it had a good emotional payoff. I thought, let's get involved with that. Santa Monica Studio, they've got a good reputation. I've liked every game I think that I've played from them, and they are the ones that are bringing us Everyone's Gone to the Rapture as well, aren't they?
Are they? Are they the ones that are doing that?
Yeah,
right.
Are,
yeah. Fantastic. Excellent.
So, and because I had a quick look, I thought, I'll just want to see what else they've done, because I knew they'd done Flower and Flow, which I liked, and Journey, which I liked. And I thought, let's just see what else they're doing. And they're doing that Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. That's them. I mean, I don't know how it works really, because they're part of Sony, I think.
They're Sony Studios Santa Monica, and I think Sony have got lots of kind of these small little studios that they're encouraging and enhancing. It's really good that way.
So they're not a developer, but they're not. Sony's the publisher, but Santa Monica Studio is sort of a sub-publisher that gather developers and release games. Would that be the correct way of saying it?
Yeah, probably. So did you with Unfinished One? Did you enjoy the other colours?
I did. So all I'd seen was pretty much white,
yes,
and black, and then a few swan yellow footprints. Mm-hmm. And yes, I did enjoy all the different colours, and I loved it that every level gave you something different. Yes, absolutely. I love when you do it's when you're at night and you have to hit those things that kind of light up a whole area. That's just amazing. Yeah. I think when you're looking at that on screen, and whether you're playing on the Vita or on a big screen, it just looks incredible. It just looks really well. It's a really good mechanic in the game that just kind of just works really well. I really enjoyed it. So did you manage to finish it? Yeah, I did. I finished the Unfinished Swan. I finished the Swan.
Right.
So I just sort of got hooked. I just really liked the design, and I just found myself hooked, and it pulled me through. And each level giving you something different to do. Like you end up actually creating blocks at one point, mm-hmm. And just the way that the atmosphere builds up as you play it, and the story unfolds. Without the story part, but with the atmosphere building to sort of a crescendo towards the end, reminded me of Flower, because that sort of. There's like a sense of purpose within Flower that grows towards the end of it, and mm-hmm. you feel sort of very, I don't know, that you're saving the environment and destroying industry and stuff that's polluting the earth. And I felt that Unfinished Swan sort of had its own tale to tell, and it told it with sort of similar I don't know, similarly solemn.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right. I think there was that kind of solemn tale that was kind of going all the way through, and I just think the graphics, the kind of the music, the incidental kind of noises. I've always played, like, every time I've played Unfinished One, I've had headphones on and just completely immersed myself. It's kind of one of those games, and I think it is one of those only games that I have played kind of on multiple. I've played on 3 different platforms, apart from maybe Halo, which I've played on, I've played Halo on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So apart from kind of Halo, kind of Unfinished One. So for me, Unfinished One's up there with Halo. So
wow, and I think quite rightly so. It's a fine game. Yeah. So yeah,
it's fantastic.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's free this month. So if you haven't had a go, get involved. Have a go on Unfinished One. It's fantastic. It's well worth it. It's just a chill out game. It's just what I needed after the stress of Spelunky, anyway.
Yes, so there you go. So on to the big game that we've both been playing. So we've both been playing. I'm playing it on the Xbox. You're playing it on PlayStation 4.
That's right.
So that's the Witcher 3. So how's it going so far? How long have you had to play? And how are you liking it so far?
I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. I've only probably played it for about 3 or 4 hours. I got it on release day, which was Tuesday, wasn't it?
It was. I got up at 5 a.m. in the morning just so I could have a game. I was there at kind of midnight because I digitally downloaded it. I was there at midnight waiting for it to unlock. But I think it was 1 o'clock that it unlocked. It wasn't kind of 2 minutes past 12. So I went to bed. It was a work night, so I went to bed. But I got up at 5 so I could have a couple of games, a couple of hours just before work.
Did you sort of get up, or did you wake up and it was just on your mind so much that you just couldn't get to sleep and you were like, I just got to get up and play it?
Well, I did. I set my alarm for 5:30, but I woke up at 5, and I was like, it was like Christmas. It was like, the Witcher's here, the Witcher, and I like kind of, ran downstairs, got myself a cup of coffee, stuck my headphones on, and then just kind of got into just the intro and just kind of seeing the world, and that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see, because I think it starts really well. It starts very strong, and then it just starts opening up, doesn't it? Quite quick. I mean, we won't spoil anything. There'll be no spoilers here, but it just starts. It just starts kind of, there's quests everywhere. And at the moment, I don't know about you, Darren, but at the moment, I'm just kind of ticking off quests around my area. What are you doing? What are your first couple of hours?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a completionist as well. So I have sort of there's a main contract, or there's a main quest that you've got to do. I don't consider myself powerful enough yet, and it actually is quite nice. It says, well, you shouldn't really bother doing that unless you're level 3 or more. Have you noticed that? That's what it's.
Absolutely, it said that to me. It said like, you're going after that. You really should do some side quests. So I was like, okay, and off I went and did some side quests. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. The last thing that I did, which was last night, and I tell you something, I can't wait to get back on it. Was I took pity on a sick lady who was laid up in a herbalist's shack. And you basically had a choice. You could just leave her and let fate take her or not, as it chose, or you could help her with one of your Witcher potions if you could brew one. I didn't have the ingredients, so I went off on a mission to find the ingredients to brew a swallow potion. And that's what I was doing. I was like, I don't even know what this swallow potion is, but it forced me to sort of go into the menu. I went to the alchemy bit, found the potion in the massive list, and I was like, right, okay, so I've got this, I need these, and I need these, and I need these flowers. So that made me like go around looking for the flowers and stuff, and then I needed a drowner brain, and I'd seen these drowners hanging around the water, which they do. So I had to fight a few of those, and I found I'm rubbish at the combat at the moment. I need to practice. I don't know. It's because I think part of it is coming off Bloodborne straight onto it. My muscle memory, I'm hitting R2.
Right. And not
to swing my sword and stuff. It's not. And I'm casting shield or Igni or whatever it is. Igni's fire, actually. I forgot. Quen, I think shield is. And it's like, no, it's square. It's square for quick attack and triangle for strong attack.
Yeah.
I'm not having much success with my triangle for strong attack because of the animation. I'm always getting hit. Yeah, it's like square. And I sort of getting into that. So I'm learning that. Just going back to even before I put it on, I got the physical copy. and I opened it up, and CD Projekt Red have made a point of sort of furnishing the buyer with lots of things that have been phased out over the years. I mean, do you remember back in the day you used to get a map and things like that, and an instruction manual and stuff like that? So they've got a manual, they've got a map in there. There's a CD of the soundtrack. This isn't a special edition, this is just the game. If you buy the game, you get a CD inside with the soundtrack on it. I think that's fantastic. You get a map.
Oh wow, that's really good. That's really good. My wife got a physical copy. I got the digital copy. She got the physical copy, but she hasn't opened it yet. I think she's waiting until she's finished playing something on the iPad. So I'll have to have a look. So you get a CD and a map as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a cloth map. It's like it's a paper one, but it's quite nice paper. It all unfolds into a nice map of the sort of the world. You get the soundtrack CD in its own little cardboard holder. You might get some other stuff too. I haven't got it right in front of me, but also you get a little red card in there, and I just wanted to read this out because I just think this is just such a nice touch of recognition and sort of humbleness from the developer CD Projekt Red. And you get a little red card in there, and it says, "Dear gamer, first of all, we would like to thank you for your support. We really appreciate that you have decided to spend your hard-earned money on our game and hope that you will have a fun time playing it. Over 200 of us have spent the last 3 years working on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and it is with great pleasure and humility that we present our game to you. At CD Projekt Red, we believe that when you buy our games, you're entitled to continuous, free support, updates, patches and bits of new and amazing content. We owe you that for believing in us and purchasing our game. To thank you, we've prepared something really special. 16 DLCs, that's 16, DLCs for you to download, totally free of charge, regardless of the platform or edition of the game you own. We salute you for your support and wish you a fantastic next generation of RPG gaming. CD Projekt Red." How nice is that?
Wow. That's fantastic. And actually, CD Projekt Red announced today that they're going to be doing a patch, a graphical patch, that for stability and graphics on the PC with the consoles coming later. So they are kind of sticking to their word because they've already, the game's only been out a couple of days and they're already talking about kind of getting patching parts of it.
Yeah, they are indeed. And I must say, we haven't even got really to elaborate on how amazing it is. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's fantastic. Do you know one of the things that with the kind of Western RPGs, they tend to be sometimes they could be a little bit drab, can't they? It can be a little bit grey or brown. And this game is so colourful. Go anywhere. There's drawings on the wall. I went into this shack and there was just kind of paintings and tapestries, and it just looks incredible. It's so bright, it's so colourful. And I actually spent, it's so sad, but I spent like about 5 minutes standing on this rock just watching the sunset because the entire screen just went orange and it just looked so amazing. And I find that I'm probably going to do that a lot in this game, where you just stop. And it's quite funny. I've never really taken screenshots using the Xbox One, and I've taken so many screenshots so far of The Witcher 3. I just keep going wow, and I just keep wowing, and then when I wow, I just kind of double tap on the button and take a screenshot. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
It's moved you. It's moved you to capture that moment. I mean, how amazing is that?
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm not playing it on the PS4, because I'd be spamming everybody who follows me on Twitter with pictures of The Witcher. At least this way, I'm just spamming my friends list on Xbox One. But speaking of Xbox One, I've got a little tip that I found. Out when I was playing last night. Kind of, Anthony's tip. Maybe this is a section for a future podcast.
I think this does seem like a new section.
It's the inception of a section. It's basically, if you hold down the hamburger button, so that's the menu button. I call it hamburger because there's like 3 lines. If you hold down the hamburger button on the Xbox One, it goes straight to the map. So you don't press kind of the start and then A to get into the map. Just hold down that button and it just jumps straight to the map. And I just found that was, that one extra click. It was just, it was quite helpful.
That is a nice tip, and I can't find a way to do that on the PS4 as much as I've tried. I tried holding down the big black... What's that? I don't even know what that button's called, but the big black button, the rectangle in the middle of the pad.
Well, like the touchpad.
The touchpad. Yeah, the touchpad. How about we just call it the touchpad? Yeah.
Let's just call it that. You touch it, it's a bit of a pad. Let's call it a touchpad.
It is. I call it the touchpad. So, so the big rectangle button. the touchpad.
Yep.
You hold that down, and it goes to the inventory. It goes straight to the inventory. Why doesn't it go to the world map like the good old Xbox One? I don't understand, but it doesn't. It goes to the inventory. But I did find another tip. Maybe we will have to start a tip section if we carry on just hitting people with all these tips. Well, I don't know if this goes for PC as well, but I've been reading that people are complaining that the text is too small.
Right.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, it's okay for me, but as you know, I'm on a projector, so my screen's pretty massive. But last night I was fighting an enemy, and the enemies' names are in red. I think they're probably always in red. I'm sort of too new to know. But anyway, these particular enemies, their names above their head was red. And I could not, for the life of me, make out what it said because it was red. It's sort of blurred. Maybe it's my projector's rubbish. But the white writing's okay. Anyway, it was a ghoul, but I could not read it. And I was sort of like, it is a bit bothersome, to have to squint all the time. But I believe... Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So... I did a bit of research, and there is an option on the PS4 that I didn't know about. This is a little bit unintuitive, but it may help if you're having real trouble. Is if you go on to your settings on your PS4 menu and into the accessibility settings, and then there's an option for zoom. If you enable zoom, and it tells you what to do from there. If you enable zoom, basically whenever you're in a game, if you hold the PS4 button down or the PlayStation button, the black one in the middle of the pad, and square at the same time, it'll zoom in on your game, and then you can move around zoomed in so you could read the menus easily. Not very intuitive for in the middle of a battle, but maybe if you're just trying to read loot, what loot you're getting or whatever, or you're going through the menus and you're finding it hard to read, you can do that option. But I do believe that there are some patches on the way to fix these. You mentioned that CD Projekt Red have already announced a patch was that for Xbox or PC, Anthony?
It's for PC to start off with, but they said that the patch will be available for the console versions very soon. And some of the stuff in the patch is improved stability in gameplay and UI, performance, menu handling. I'm just reading now. There's a story up on IGN that I'm just reading kind of in front of me. There's also some translation issues that could have been quite funny if you're playing it in another language, maybe. And so I think there is a patch coming, and as they said from that amazing note that you found in your game pack, they're going to continually patch this and also provide DLC. So that's just fantastic. I do think this is a game I'm going to be playing for a long time. I'm a bit worried because Batman's out in June. So the end of June. So I think I'll be juggling between The Witcher and Batman.
Yeah, it's never going to complete it by the 21st of June, are we?
No, absolutely. But one thing that I am, because there's always got to be, not a negative, but there's always got to be a balance. One thing that I am finding a little bit troublesome at the moment, and like you say, it may just be muscle memory from other games, is that it's a bit clunky. The controlling is a bit floaty, a bit clunky. I had to adjust my camera sensitivity because I was finding that I was just flying around when I was touching the right pad. So I've adjusted that, which has helped, but I'm still finding the controls a little bit clunky. Are you getting that as well? Is that just me?
No, it's not just you. I'm finding it. I don't like to say it, but yeah, it is clunky. It's clunky as hell. I've been getting annoyed with him just not going where I wanted him to go, and I've moaned about Assassin's Creed. Running into something and then clipping on an edge or something of a building and just stopping dead. And it's not up to Assassin's Creed, to be honest, with getting around. And the horse is quite difficult to control. It does feel floaty. It's as if he oversteps, isn't it? When So I was practicing last night. I was just like running left and then going right straight away, and he sort of carries on. But it doesn't. Some games do that, and they sort of do a realistic animation, and it feels right, where he sort of stops and skids and turns, and he kind of seems to do that. But it is as if he's on ice or something. It doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right, which is more important than looking right. It doesn't feel quite right. So I find it's not without its bugs. The game, he has got clunky movement. Yes. And I found some sound was clipping in the tutorial, which annoyed me. The teacher guy, the old guy that's showing you how to do this and that. And whenever I started it, it'd say go in the menu. The menu would take over and it'd say, right, you need to do this, or this is your spell button. This is where you select your spells from. And then it'd say, right, once you've done that, press X to continue or whatever. And then he'd sort of stutter and skip what he was saying, and it sort of ruined the immersion. And I was like, that's annoying. Yeah, getting stuck on scenery, and the text is small, and it's a bit of a menu overload. But I mean, I always find that with a new game, with a new RPG, and it's always at the start. I'm like, I'm never going to learn this, and I always think of the me, a few weeks or a few days later of gaming it. I think of the me that's going around it like Minority Report, but at the start it's always like, whoa, this is a lot to learn, and there's always been a lot to learn in Witcher games. Witcher 2, which it's more simplified than that, but there's a lot to learn. You've got your inventory, you've got your crafting, you've got your alchemy and the potions. What else? There's a load of menus. There's the getting used to the map. There's the way that the quests are presented, that the fast traveling. There's a whole gamut of things to sort of get used to and learn. And they don't seem to me to be done in exactly the same way, as you expect. Sort of with a first-person shooter, you can sort of expect all the controls to be in the same place.
Yes, but it's quite nice in a way, though, isn't it? Because it kind of challenges you to kind of get to know the controls, get to know the game. And like I say, I mean, you played Witcher 2. Did you play it on, I guess you played it on the 360 or PC?
Yeah, 360. It does it makes it its own, doesn't it? Yeah,
it really does. This is my first Witcher game. So I never played Witcher 2, even though it was a Games for Gold on Xbox 360. I never played it, but I did find I found a really great article on Game Informer, which was kind of before you play The Witcher 3, introduce yourself to these important characters. Great article on Game Informer, and I just kind of went down it, so I was like, right, okay, I now know who everybody is. So I was just kind of getting all that lore, sucking all that lore in before I jumped into Witcher 3, and it helped as well. So the first time you see Yennefer, you kind of know exactly who she is. So it was... like I say, I'm the same as you. I'm loving it, and I'll be back to it this evening, I think.
Yeah, it's almost as if we've spent longer at this point talking about the bad things and the bugs than we have about the awesome spectacle that it is. But it's just that you can't just sweep those things under the carpet. You've got to say that they're there because they are there. But the thing is that I think is different with The Witcher 3. That isn't with other games. It's just we're only at the tip of the iceberg. We've probably done like 0.5% of it or something like that.
Yes.
It's the sheer, but we reliably know how immense the game is. The sheer scale and the fact that what we're seeing at the moment, the beauty, the breathtaking beauty of the visuals and the immersive world that's so populated with detail. That itself sweeps them under the carpet for you when you're playing it, so you can make the allowance. But it is there, and it is only fair to get that out.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we're going to talk more about kind of The Witcher 3 as the weeks progress. We probably won't, we'll have a little Witcher update. And I'm really glad that there's a bank holiday this weekend, so I can spend maybe Monday just playing The Witcher and just doing nothing else.
Witcher days, yeah.
Absolutely. Right, should we get on to the news section?
Yep.
I think I have the first piece of news, and the first piece of news that I've got is Rock Band 4 has Rock Band 4. It's a thing. I'm quite excited about it, and it's released its first 6 songs. So they have a thing up on IGN's website at the moment. I think it's called IGN First, and they've been showing Rock Band 4 all month, and on, I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, they released the first 6 songs. So you've got Hail to the King by Avenged Sevenfold, Fleetwood Mac, You Make Loving Fun, a Jack White track, there's The Killers, Spin Doctors, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, The Who, Seeker. So it's quite a nice little mixture that they've got at the moment. I don't know about you, Darren, but I'm glad that Rock Band and Guitar Hero are coming back. I'm very glad that Rock Band. I seem to kind of when we were playing them last, I seem to at some point I started with Guitar Hero and then I started to move over to Rock Band. I think it was more the songs that were there. So I started moving over to Rock Band, and then they brought out Rock Band Beatles, and we have rocked together to that.
Yes, indeed.
A drunken Saturday night, but and I just love Rock Band, and I'm glad it's coming back. By all accounts, the old peripherals will work. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're going to work, and so I'll be dusting those off. But I'm really looking forward to Rock Band 4, and hopefully we can see some more kind of at E3. What kind of songs would you want to see in the new Rock Band?
Well, I'm not very good with my music. In fact, I was going to mention this, but I love Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and I agree completely that I'm glad they're back. The weird thing is that it was time for them to stop as well. They did saturate the market a little bit, and I stopped. I did stop playing it naturally. It was strange. It was like, right, I can't do this. I can't do it anymore. I got stuck on some songs and I couldn't do them. Was it the Dragon Slayer one? It was just too hard. Anyway, so the good thing for me about these games that I really loved is that was my way of finding out what songs are out there, because many years ago, I don't know what it must have been, 1995 or something. I was banging to all my music, and then it slowly started to get more and more like this kind of steps and boy bands and things, and I got in a little rage and I threw my 10 CDs in my 10 CD changer, and that was it, and I never sort of looked back and never listened to any music again. So I'm totally out of touch with tunes, and the good thing about Guitar Hero and Rock Band is that it introduced me to songs that I would never have heard of otherwise, because I don't listen to the radio.
Right.
I haven't got a clue what to listen to. I used to use Pandora, because that was sort of a genome of music. I don't know if you ever used that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, indeed.
So I'd put music in that I liked, and it'd find me other tunes that I liked, but that got banned in this country. And so I'm not that good at finding tunes that I like anymore. And because I enjoy playing the games, tunes would come in and I'd love them. I'd get bang into them. So for me, I'm not like hoping for anything particular, but I'm looking forward to just hearing some new tunes, because I trust that they'll be good, if you know what I mean. There'll be some that I don't like, but I trust there'll be some really good tunes.
Yes, absolutely. For me, the two that I've always wanted in Rock Band, I've always wanted Led Zeppelin to be in Rock Band. I've always wanted Prince to be in Rock Band. It's quite funny that you're saying about how you kind of get used to, or you find out new music. And it wasn't so much as finding out new music, but I appreciated the genius that is Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age. Because when I was trying to play Rock Band, and I know it's just kind of button bashing, but when I was trying to play some of the songs on hard, my fingers just kind of got into a knot, and I'm like, this guy makes it look effortless on stage, and I'm here just kind of trying to emulate that in a very small way. So it was, I love it, and I'm so glad. I can't wait for it to come back, and hopefully, I don't know if there's a release date yet, but hopefully we'll see it sometime this year, definitely before Christmas. Yeah,
I can't wait. I would have never heard of Muse. I would have never heard of Avenged Sevenfold.
Wow.
Without that, and these tunes came on, and I was just like, these are just the kind of tunes I love. Well,
yeah.
And so for me, it's a bit of a discovery as well. I know that Guitar Hero, their peripherals aren't going to be backwards compatible, are they?
No, that's right. I think they've said that there's not backward compatible. Rock Band 4 has also said its back catalogue will be backward compatible, and Guitar Hero have just kind of moved away from that. Guitar Hero doing a few things differently, so it's nice to see someone stretch it. They've got live action, so they've filmed people going yay, or filmed people going boo, so they've got that instead of this CG the Rock Band have a kind of almost cartoony look to it. So it'll be very interesting. I might dip in and both. I might double dip and just have a play. But it's going to be an interesting one anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to get them both. I can't see that I won't. I'll have to get them both, and then I'll have to get two guitars. And for Rock Band, I might start. Because I got rid of all my instruments because I was like, I don't need these anymore. So I might, before the trend comes back, I might go on eBay and start picking them up for like 50p.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet they're all. I've still got my John Lennon Rickenbacker from Beatles Rock Band. So I made sure I kept hold of that. I don't know why I kept hold of that, but I've kept hold of that. So I'll be dusting it off and playing it.
Well, I had that. I picked it up. When Game, what was it called? The shop that went bust just before Game was going to but didn't. It was part of Game. The other high street store.
Mm-hmm.
What was it called? Oh no, Game Station. No.
Yes, no, it was. It was Game Station.
Was it Game Station?
Yeah.
So when they were closing down, I descended like a vulture upon my local one, which at that time was in Sutton, and they had one of those guitars, and they sold it to me for 50p. And I kept it. I used it. Yeah, it was like, well, they had no worth at that time. No one was buying them, and they were closing down. And the guy behind the counter said that I got chatting to him because I recognised him because he used to be the manager of Game in Wimbledon. And I was like, I used to see you when I used to come in. And he was like, I remember you. So we had a bit of a chat. And I was like, sorry about what's happening. And he was like, yeah, it was, this and that. So we chatted. And I sort of said, "Oh wow, look at that guitar! That's amazing. How much is that?" And he said, "You know something, I was going to keep that for myself, but you can have it for 50p, which is the price it's on the till for." And I was like, "What? You're joking?" And so I got it, and I loved it. But then I wasn't playing them anymore, and I just thought, "Oh, I'll just see how much I can get for it." So I sold it for about 60 quid.
Wow.
This was only 6 months or so ago. And I just thought I'll never play it again because I'm not getting it all out again. And I could have used it. I could have used it on Rock Band 4.
And
but
now
never
it's
mind.
back.
It's back. So yeah, I'll be getting 2 guitars and 2 mics.
Nice.
And the drum kit.
There's a drum kit as well. They've started to announce and show some new instruments as well. So I guess there will be that big box for Rock Band 4. I remember getting that big box when the Rock Band, whatever one came out, where they introduced the band, walking through my town, kind of with a big box on my shoulder. You know, think it just getting ready to rock. So,
yeah, man.
Okay, that's enough about how sad we are with plastic instruments. What's next on the news?
Oh yeah, so I found out this week that Oculus Rift's recommended specs have been confirmed by Oculus. Good old Palmer Lucky has revealed what you need for the full Rift experience. What you need is a PC with NVIDIA GTX 970, and this is recommended, not minimum. So a GTX 970 card, Intel i5 4590 equivalent or greater, 8 gig of RAM, HDMI 1.3, 2 USB 3 ports, and Windows 7 Service Pack 1 or newer. So that's not a bad little setup, you know. The card, you could probably pick up a GTX 970 for about £250, I'd say. So what would that make your PC? You could probably get a PC that would run that for about 600 quid, 500 or £600. So I think that is quite good. You know, it could have been worse. You could have been expected to get a lot more expensive kit to run it, and I think that's good. I mean, that's saying the full Rift experience. So, you know, I think that's very reasonable, and I know you're a bit tempted here, but this is almost a trigger for me to get a PC.
Do you know what? I've never really been a PC gamer. I've always been a kind of console gamer. I've always been that one that just kind of plugs that cartridge or puts that CD in and play and just get that experience that I'm supposed to get. But things like Oculus Rift and also 4K gaming, those two things are really kind of pressing buttons with me at the moment. So I might build my own PC, you know. I'm very tempted. I've been looking last couple of days at components and things to buy. I want something that's small form, but at the same time I want small form but lots of power. Like I say, downstairs in our kind of gaming / movie room, we've got a 4K TV. So I want to plug a PC into that because obviously, you know, we're not getting 4K gaming from an Xbox One or a PS4 anytime soon. And sometimes I look at the 4K, like GTA 4K, it just looks spectacular. And I'm a bit of a kind of a graphics buff, and I love seeing those graphics. So I'm thinking, you know, I might start getting nerdy with a PC, and I might start building my own PC.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a PC gamer. Going back to what made me get my PC. What was it? It was Unreal.
Half-Life.
Actually,
I was going to say, was it Half-Life though?
It pretty much was Half-Life. It was around the same time as Unreal. It was the first Unreal and Half-Life with my 3DFX Voodoo 2 graphics card. And I loved it, you know, so I played all those games and stuff. And I had it up till Deus Ex Invisible War and Half-Life 2. And I bought a new graphics card for Half-Life 2. I didn't mention this in the last podcast, did I? I can't remember.
No, you didn't. No.
So yeah, for Half-Life 2, I bought a new graphics card, which was, I can't remember actually. It was an NVIDIA one, top of the range at the time. It was about 380 quid or something. I mean, you can
size of a house, probably.
It was rather large, and the other thing was, once I installed it, everything wasn't working properly, and I was like, "What's going on? This game doesn't look that good." And it was because my power supply wasn't up to the job. I didn't know.
Wow.
I hadn't realised that, so I had to also go out and upgrade my power supply as well. And Half-Life 2 was amazing, and I absolutely loved it, and it was so crystal clean looking on my monitor, my CRT monitor at the time. But then I came to a point, you know, this was just before I think Xbox 360 came out, and I just thought, you know, that came out at about £300 retail, and I thought, you know, this is ridiculous because I can get a whole console for less than a graphics card, and once I sort of made my mind up with that, I turned away from PC and I went sort of solely console, and so, you know, I just got 360 and PS3, and at that time I was playing PS2 and Xbox as well. Probably a bit of Dreamcast. I had this plethora of consoles all over my floor. There's wires everywhere. Claire, my wife, she hated it, but she was pretty patient, and that was the lounge, and it was just like wires everywhere. But it was a great gaming den. It really was. There was a GameCube there, awesome. But so I turned away from it, and I let my PC just age, and then threw it out, and it got taken over with laptops. And laptops, really, for me, I don't really use now unless I'm actually doing something productive. To consume all my internet and all my media these days, it's all on a tablet. It's all on my iPad. And that took me by surprise. But anyway, that's probably another debate. But Oculus, and in particular HTC Vive, have made me rethink, and I'm so tempted. I'm 4K. You said 4K. You can't get 4K on our consoles.
Yes.
We're never going to get it because they can't do it.
Nope.
I mean, they're struggling enough to get 1080, 60 FPS, aren't they?
They are indeed. Even The Witcher is not running at that on Xbox One at the moment. There is talk that it will at some point. But no, absolutely. So, I wasn't hoping that this generation would give us that, but I was hoping for maybe some playback at some point with 4K. We might get a new console that enables playback, but I've already got, I can get 4K from the TV. I've got a Blu-ray player. All of that is going to be updated later this year. But I said PC. I've got where all of my media is situated. There is a cupboard that has a big space that it would just be you could put a nice PC in there and then hook it up to the surround sound and off you go. And it is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Maybe I'll get one, start building it, and maybe it's put it up on the website just as I start building it. Maybe I think I'm up to that.
Yeah, of course you can. Maybe we could collaborate and do. We could both get the same build,
Absolutely.
kick-ass PC. It'd be like this behemoth but it's only small, but it's only in a small form factor. I've played around with setting them up in the lounge. The biggest stumbling block that I've found is balancing the keyboard and mouse on your knee on the couch.
Yes, but I've seen lots of PCs that have you can use an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, so you can do that, and a wireless keyboard and mouse. I've got a table in front of it's a good position, and that's what I was doing just yesterday. I was looking at the position, and I think I could get the keyboard out, I could get the mouse, and then when I'm playing, go over to a gamepad, and then I'm not that purist. I don't need keyboard and mouse for first-person shooters, so and then obviously, by getting a PC, you also get all of the good stuff, all of those indie titles that are up on Steam as well. So there's just so much that could just take my money if I got a PC. So we'll discuss that maybe next week.
Yeah, and Steam's been optimised for the lounge now with its big picture mode, hasn't it?
It absolutely, because one of the things I was thinking about was the Steam boxes, because the Steam boxes are not far away from coming out of retail. So I was thinking, should I wait for that? But I don't think a Steam box is going to be powerful enough to give me 4K graphics to do that ultimate mode on a lot of those games.
No, and if you're going to do it, you've got to do it properly. Have you spent any time with an Oculus?
No, I haven't. I missed out on Eurogamer last year when they had Oculus Rift showing there. But I've had a chat with a couple of guys on Twitter, and I know they've been playing around with Oculus. One of the guys actually has a dev Oculus kit, and he loves it, and he really enjoys it. So it's one of those things. It's with that, and also Project Morpheus. I like any kind of faddy new technology, and I just want to play it. I just want to kind of see what's there. Even if it's not quite right or if it's a little bit broken at the moment, I just want to be kind of part of that kind of early adopter. I am a born early adopter. I'm sporting my Apple Watch right now, which shows how crazy early adopter I am. But no, I'm enjoying that. But again, that's another podcast.
I thought I was an early adopter until I met you, actually. And you trump me, and that is quite amazing. A lot of people that I know would say. I've become a little bit more cautious with my early adopting, but yeah, it
does bite you in the bum a lot. You do kind of my 4K TV that I've got. I had to get an additional streamer because Netflix, it's okay for live film, but Netflix doesn't stream 4K for that TV, so I had to get a streamer. So it does bite you in the bum, but but you do get to play with all the new shinies when they first come out.
And it's good to have the best stuff.
Absolutely. And talking about new shinies, it's almost like we set this up. Talking about new shinies, E3 briefing dates. Now, everybody's put their cards on the table now. So we have, and I'll just quickly run through these. We've got on Sunday the 14th of June at, it's actually going to be Monday for us in the UK, because at 2:30 a.m, Bethesda have their very first conference, so Bethesda are going to be showing their stuff. Could it be a Fallout game? I hope so. We then have on Monday, the fun starts from 5:30, again this is UK time, and that's going to be the Xbox press conference. Phil Spencer today tweeted that the press conference is going to be 90 minutes long, so we've got an hour and a half of all of these new shiny games.
Yay.
Come on, Viva Pinata sequel. And then we got 9 o'clock, we've got EA press conference. We then have at 11 o'clock, which kind of gives me time to watch Game of Thrones in between the two. We've got Ubisoft's press conference so that's on at 11 o'clock. And then we have at 2 a.m, we've got Sony's press conference. So there's a few others that are happening on the Tuesday. It's a bit strange, but we've got the digital event by Nintendo that we were talking about in episode 1. Yeah. And we also have Square Enix as well. So there's 7 conferences happening with E3. I can't wait. I'm going to watch them all. What about you, Darren? Will you be up with me at 2 a.m. on Tuesday morning watching the Sony conference?
I don't know. I wouldn't like to promise it, but I'll probably try my best. The thing is, I just can't fight nature these days. I'm just going to sleep. But I would definitely be trying my best. I'll certainly be watching the ones that are at a more reasonable time, and I will see how I last. Maybe we should charter that, actually, and stick it on the website. We could just do all the timings and do them in GMT time, because it does my head in when I look in on
Absolutely.
Half the time it's always in the in LA time.
It is. It's normally on our PDT. But what we'll do, we'll stick them on the website with this podcast. So if you want to know where they are, and Darren and I will be doing our Gamers of the Lost Spark E3 review. So after these conferences, we normally record this on a Wednesday. So we'll do that on a Wednesday and get that posted quite quickly with our thoughts of when everybody's played their cards. So our thoughts and predictions, and we can see how that's going.
Yeah, who won E3? Yawn. But we will go through it all, and let's do. I'm always so excited. I'm always so excited, but I'm sort of braced for disappointment. But I'm hoping there's going to be some good stuff there.
I thought you were going to be happy all the way through that story. I thought you were going to go, I'm excited and I'm going to keep being excited. For me, it's Christmas for gamers. I'm generally excited about most things, but it's just, as my wife tells me a lot, but it's Christmas for gamers. It's all of that new stuff. As we just said, I crave the new stuff. So for E3, I just sit there and I'm like, come on, show me what I'm going to be playing within the next 18 months. And that's what they do, and I will try, as I do, to try and go dark maybe for a couple of days before E3, because it must be so hard for those games companies now to try and keep everything under wraps. The days of this is something big and new and here it is and it's released and it's for you to play now, I think are becoming harder and harder. I think, didn't they do that with the Dreamcast? Many moons ago, didn't they say this is the Dreamcast? Didn't Sega go, this is the Dreamcast, and it's in selected shops now at E3? Did they do an Apple before Apple did the Apple?
I don't know. I don't know that. No, I really don't know.
Okay.
But I'd like to think they did, because I loved my Dreamcast, and it was a shocker. It did just appear from what I remember, because it was before. I remember saying, no, I'm not going to get one because I'm waiting for the PlayStation 2, so I can't get a Dreamcast. And my wife, bless her, got me one as a surprise for Christmas, and it was amazing with Soul Calibur and Blue Stinger. Blue Stinger, not so good. I still love Soul Calibur now, and I played the version of it on Xbox Live or something, and it holds up. It's still good.
Oh, cool, excellent stuff. So
E3, looking forward to it. I'm just holding a few reservations, but come on, E3, surprise me. And Anthony, it is Christmas for gamers, and I'm glad you're excited. I wish I was like that still. I mean, it's only broken me in the last couple of years, but yeah, we shall see what happens. So what else have we got here?
Absolutely. Well, the next story that we've got here is Casey Hudson. Casey Hudson from the former creator of Mass Effect trilogy. So it was reported last week that he has joined Microsoft. So he's joined Microsoft to work on the HoloLens that you were talking about last week. So HoloLens. So he's gone over there to be the new creative director. So he's going to be focusing on innovative new Xbox titles and also HoloLens. So which is quite an interesting move that they're putting a powerhouse like Casey Hudson behind HoloLens. So maybe we will get a gaming experience on there. We may get a full AAA, if you want to use that term, a AAA title for HoloLens. So we might get some. But like I say, I think the interesting part of this and the interview that Casey Hudson gave when he got this role was he did say that he's been looking at this for a while. He's fully on board. He fully buys into it. But he also will be creating Xbox titles as well. So he's not only going to be kind of overseeing the HoloLens projects or the HoloLens gaming projects. He's also going to be doing some stuff maybe for Xbox One. Maybe they're going to roll him out at E3. Maybe they'll roll him out and he'll obviously won't have anything to show because the poor guy's only just started his job. But maybe he'll have some ideas or some concepts, and we'll have some of those concept videos where they have nothing to show, but they talk about.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind that. A little glimpse into the future. That there's no harm in that. And that's really good. It must be a difficult task, to be honest, when you talk about gaming and HoloLens. And, Oculus has been going for a while, but Oculus and Vive and what have you. But it must be a difficult job to actually deliver what we'd consider sort of a fully rounded game that's suited for that experience. I mean, HoloLens is a completely individual new thing. So he's got his work cut out. I mean, I'm sure we could come up with something, but off the top of my head, I can't think of an actual addictive sort of game in HoloLens just like that. It's, the way that it would work and the way it would work with your air taps and things. So it's going to be difficult to deliver that to get the gamers on board, I think. Absolutely.
Or whether it's not a full game, it's just features within the game. So when you're there, you're playing your game, but you've got HoloLens on at the same time, and it's interacting with the game. Maybe something like that. Whenever you look at Oculus Rift or you look at Project Morpheus, you always think first-person shooter, driver, but I want to see something different to that. I want to see, there were some great indie titles for the Oculus Rift that were shown at the Sony event last year, their Sony experience in Vegas, and I want to see those kind of things. I don't want to see the obvious, as amazing as it would be to be maybe, Master Chief or whatever the PlayStation equivalent is, in a first-person shooter and you're looking around and it's following you, that would be fantastic. I'm sure that's going to make a lot of people sick, but it would be incredible. But at the same time, I want to see this technology kind of pushing boundaries and doing stuff that that smarter people than you and I, people have kind of come up with when it's kind of stumping us of what can happen next.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I mean, I think VR is the next big thing. I think it's going to potentially. I'm hoping anyway. It's going to revolutionise things in the same way that the internet did. I think it's that much of a serious contender, and bring it on. And I hope that we get a glimpse through that window at E3. I really do.
Excellent stuff. So talk about new stuff. Now, you've got something on the news running list that I don't know about. Is it School Me?
Yeah. So here we go. I saw this little Kickstarter campaign for a spiritual successor to Wipeout.
All right. Ooh, colour me interested.
So it's Kickstarter. It's actually past its Kickstart threshold now. It was 35,000 was the goal, and it's currently at £59,195. And it's next generation Wipeout game with some of the dev team from the last Wipeout game are on board. I don't know exact names of who that was, but it's the team or some of the team that were involved with the old Wipeout games. PS3 Wipeout, was a great game, and one of the few games that was actually a full 1080-60 game on PS3. So this is made by a developer called R8 Games, capital R and number 8. Yeah, it's called Formula Fusion, and it's a next-gen anti-gravity racing game. You can upgrade your craft, you can advance through classes, and just race through shiny, vectory, shimmering, fast tracks. And it's even got that little strand of light behind your craft, like Wipeout 2097 had. I don't think they had that on the last game, but I really liked it. They've got some stretch goals here. I'm just looking at the Kickstarter now. It just looks really nice. If you like Wipeout and you're looking at this, you're going to be thinking, wow.
Oh, I'm going to check this out. And have they got any indication on the Kickstarter of what platforms that's coming out? Is that do we need our 4K PC for that?
Well, everything's better on a 4K PC, but I think PC's the first. The funding was for Windows 8 for 35,000, but they've got that. If they reach £100,000, then console versions will be ETA Q2 2016, and that would be for Xbox One and PS4. As it is, they're looking at... There isn't an ETA on the 35,000 that I can see here, but if they get 75,000, they're committed to developing an esports portal.
That sounds really good. And how are they doing so far on the Kickstarter?
At the moment, they have got... They're past the 35,000 and they are at £59,195. There's 44 hours to go.
Wow.
So they're probably not going to get to the 150. You probably know Kickstarter better than me. Can people keep backing once it's closed? Or
no,
is that it?
Once it's closed, that's it. Once it's closed, the items that you have and things that you can buy in at certain levels, it's kind of that's it. That's kind of their funding. But I have seen previously where if they get a lot of interest, the moment they close, you then sometimes hear that maybe they've got a publisher or maybe they've got some extra help from some extra money. But your average Joe, the guy who's interested about that game, once it's closed, that's it. You then get an email saying, it's funded or it's done, and you get that information. So once it's done, it's done. But hopefully, these guys are on to their goal anyway, aren't they?
They are indeed. It's definitely going to get made now for PC. And I imagine, if they get some investment, as you alluded to, or if the sales go well, maybe it'll go console as well. And the thing is, its home is on console, so I'm sure it'll get there. I don't know if it'll get... I don't think it'll get to 100,000, but it may do. It's on 60,000 now. I think I'll keep an eye on it and update next week. But yeah, next gen Wipeout will happen on PC, and fingers crossed it will happen on console too.
But it's quite interesting, isn't it? Last week we spoke about Ukulele doing this, and this week we've got kind of a Wipeout guys doing a Wipeout successor. Last week we had a Rare guys doing kind of a Banjo-Kazooie successor. It's really interesting how these guys are breaking away and they're now doing their own thing.
It's fantastic to see, and it means that the iron grip that the publishers have had historically on the industry and the games that we would consume is being loosened by Kickstarter. And sometimes you hear horror stories about Kickstarter, but I for one I'm a great believer in it because of that. Someone wants to take a risk, the publisher won't, because the marketing strategy or their focus group strategy doesn't bear it out. Then, you don't need a publisher. Let's go and see what the gamers want. And if the gamers are enthusiastic enough, they'll put their hand in their pocket and word of mouth will spread. And before you know it, you've got a game being developed. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, have you ever backed any on Kickstarter?
What a great question after that speech, no.
Well, because, I backed... Defense Grid 2, because I love Defense Grid. Tower defense games, they're kind of another one of those ones that just kind of I get all nerdy about. And Defense Grid 2, the Defense Grid 1 was out on Xbox and PC, and then Defense Grid 2 was just Kickstarter, so I actually funded that to play it on my on my Mac or on my laptop, and then ended up getting so much money that they brought it out on consoles as well, and that was just fantastic. And it felt really good. It was almost like I'm doing this, I'm part of this, and you're getting regular updates. It's quite nice seeing those regular updates, emails coming through about something that you're interested in and a project that you've backed.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think there's not been a Kickstarter for me that has just been so amazing that I've felt the need to do it. If I had a PC, I would have donated or backed Elite Dangerous.
Right,
but I didn't have a PC, so I was like, gutted. Though that is going to come out on consoles actually.
Oh, that would be fantastic. So yeah, then again, something like Elite Dangerous would be really good with Oculus and Morpheus and things like that. So
it would, and it is. I don't know if you remember, but I said I went to a game exhibition a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And there was a guy there. He was a PC shop guy actually, but he'd set up a powerful PC with Oculus and Elite Dangerous, and I had a go.
Oh wow!
And it was pretty breathtaking. I mean, just because I grew up on Elite, I spent a whole summer holidays when I was young playing Elite. I just played Elite, and when I was on the run to the space station, I read a book, and I felt like I was a real space pirate. It was brilliant. My little computer desk was my cockpit, so I put on the Oculus, and basically you were in the cockpit, and he had it all set up with a proper flight stick and things. And the thing is, when you put it on, and you look down, and you can look around the cockpit, and all the instruments are there, and the flight stick's there, rendered in the cockpit. And when you grab it, you sort of put it in the right place, and when you see your virtual hand move forward to speed it up, and your other one's on the joystick, and you can look round out of the cockpit and around into space. I was in an asteroid field, and you could look out the back window and everything. You used to have to press like the function keys, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for forward and left and right and rear, and you could just look around, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And so, I mean, I was only on it for 5 minutes because I sort of was a bit busy with other things. But I looked around, and there was a planet in the distance, and I got close to it, and I was in awe, man. And I came off it, and I was just like, whoa, this is a game changer. This, and it just made me immediately. This is why I did it, because he was selling PCs. It immediately made me just want to snap his hand off. If he'd have been selling Oculus is there, because he had a dev kit too. Mm-hmm. I said, have you got any dev kits for sale? He said, no, you've got to get them off Oculus, which is fair enough. And if he'd have had one there, I think I would have just bought the whole lot. I'd have said, if you can give me the PC now that'll do this, I'll have it.
Yes, absolutely, indeed. Maybe Oculus should start selling bundles with an optimized PC and Oculus Rift.
Yeah, so I haven't backed anything yet, but the day will come. The day will come when something's just so good that I'll get behind it.
Excellent. On to the next piece of news, and that's you, Darren. So
yeah, thanks, Anthony. So you remember last week you mentioned Gears of War being leaked, new next-gen Gears of War?
Yep.
Well,
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, Microsoft has punished the leakers who were part of the test group that were working on this next-generation Gears of War by basically bricking their consoles. They sent a command out to the perpetrators and rendered their consoles useless for as long as they deem necessary. So there you go, just desserts, some might say. You might say, oh no, they could do it to me, but they're not going to do it without reason, are they? But they do have that power with a connected console. For me, that's not something I worry about. I actually think, you let the cat out of the bag like that, it's kind of good that they can do a little bit of punishment, What do you think?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, when you embark on these things, you sign an NDA, and your NDA is that you're not going to be streaming or kind of talking about these games. So I kind of feel it's just reward for those people. I'm just a little bit jealous because I never got to play this new Gears of War, and I've got to wait. But I understand that they are kind of taking down their consoles for online gaming, isn't it? They can still play them offline if you can play games offline on an Xbox One. But for any online, it's now. They've now been shut out, and Xbox do a great job at this, and PlayStation now as well do a great job at this of, making sure that anyone who is causing problems, or in this case, kind of leaking stuff they shouldn't be, are shut down quite quickly. When you told me about this, I had a look online to see if I could see some footage, and I couldn't find any. So they've done a really good job of a cleanup as well, and I think people like Twitch and YouTube have been involved as well. So I couldn't find any, unfortunately, but yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with you. It's almost kind of just desserts for those people that are kind of breaking this kind of promise not to stream or talk about this new game.
You're getting paid to do a job, and you should do that job, and the integrity of your employer should be paramount. They're paying you for a service, and it should be carried out well, and you shouldn't have sort of traitors in the midst. I've just had a quick look at what's going on at the moment with it. It looks like the consoles weren't bricked. They could be used offline, but all online privileges were suspended.
were revoked.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. You've been shut out. Excellent. I mean, okay. So next, a piece of news that I've got. It's a delayed news, so we've got a bit of a delay section now in our podcast. This delay is a game that I like. You know, it's back to kind of the original PlayStation. It's Ratchet and Clank. So Ratchet and Clank. Two things that are happening in the Ratchet and Clank world. One is that they're bringing out a remake, re-imaging of the original game. I still think Ratchet and Clank 2 was a little bit better than the original, but they're remaking, re-imaging Ratchet and Clank, which I can't wait to play on the PS4. But alongside this, they're bringing out a Ratchet and Clank movie. So this is going to be a whole 3D movie in theatres, and it's coming out in 2016. So it's going to be April 2016. And because the movie has been delayed, they've made sense to delay the game as well. But the thing that caught my eye, as much as it's kind of Ratchet and Clank, and as much as I love it, is that in the Ratchet and Clank movie, it's starring or voice acted by, we've got John Goodman, Paul Giamatti, Sylvester Stallone. I won't do that Stallone impression, and also Rosario Dawson as well. So Rosario Dawson, who's just fresh off of her guest appearance or kind of character in Daredevil, which was fantastic. So you've got those kind of four big hitters, all kind of either Academy or Golden Globe winners, are in the Ratchet and Clank, kind of lending their voice to Ratchet and Clank. Now, obviously, Ratchet, Clank, and Captain Quark, they're all going to be voiced by the people that do it in the movie, in the game, but we've got those people kind of coming in as well. And I saw the trailer, I think last year or at E3 last year, and I was a little bit excited about going to the movies and watching a Ratchet and Clank game. But we've got to wait a little bit longer. We've got to wait until April 2016, which will be about kind of roughly about the same time as Batman vs Superman as well. So April or 2016 is shaping up to be quite a good movie year.
Wow! I look forward to that. I haven't seen the trailer actually. I'll look that up and have a look.
No, check it out. It's online, and it's an interesting one. So yeah. So in our delay section, what news have you got? I think there's another game that's been delayed.
There is, yeah. Talking of delays, so I think we mentioned last week, or you did, Anthony, that the Division has been delayed, and yes, it has. It's been delayed until the first quarter of next year. So first quarter 2016 is when we're going to have to wait for it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll give us more information at E3. Maybe we'll see a later sort of demo. Was it because did they show it last E3?
They did. They showed it at the Ubisoft conference. They showed that iPad integration as well, or tablet integration that your friends could play and call out stuff. They showed it was quite an extensive section because it looked quite polished. It looked good. But if they're taking more time to make that game polished and wonderful, then I'm happy with that one. Yeah,
definitely. That was the unveiling then, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, I was getting mixed up. I was thinking, because some of these games have been announced so many years ago, so I get a bit mixed up. But I agree wholeheartedly. Let's not have another Unity on our hands. Let's bring games out when they're finished, because it's almost as if games, are punishing the early adopter. I mean, the games industry thrives on the pre-order culture at the moment, and your gaming fans jumping in on day one to have that experience. So don't punish them, or don't punish us by releasing it unfinished, then patching it up over 7 months. It's a bit like you said at the start of our podcast with the Borderlands pre-sequels. So many months, 6-7 months after you're getting the patch that makes it perfect, and it's a bit like, maybe the enthusiastic gamers are going to wise up and think, I'll wait in a way that you might wait for a 4K TV, or you might wait for the next big thing. You'll say, I won't get the game when it's released because it won't be right. I'll wait 2 months, and it'll be cheaper, and it'll be a more rounded and full experience. But so that's been delayed until first quarter 2016. I think from what I saw, I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, no, it looked fantastic. It was one of those ones where you're like, okay, that is my game of E3. I can't wait to play that. I can't wait to play that with a big group of guys, big group of friends, and just the call out. So I just think it's going to be one of those games where if you can get that kind of squad of 4 or 5 people together, if you can make sure that all of your characters are your friends, you're talking, it will be a fantastic experience. There's a story mode as well as probably a multiplayer mode. Maybe they'll show that off at the next E3 briefing. But as I said, if they just think it needs a little bit more polish, if they don't think it's right, then I'm happy for those guys to take time, but just not too much time.
Yeah, not too much time, but just
too much time.
Just spend a bit more money. You've got loads from Assassin's Creed. Spend that more money, get more resources, and get it nice, get it shiny. Give us the next gen experience that you promised.
Absolutely. And speaking of next gen experience, your last piece of news got me very excited.
Oh yeah! Wow, what a link that was. Yeah, Bethesda
I'm great
announced.
At this linking stuff. I mean, who knew?
You are. I know. You found it. You're finding talents.
I found my niche. Yeah.
Bethesda have announced that a Doom remake will be announced at E3. They released, that was an announcement for an announcement. So, I'm a bit... I hope I don't come across too cynical, but what is it about these announcements of announcements? And I'm sure I had to watch actually I had to watch an advert to watch the announcement of the announcement as well on IGN, but you corrected me with that, Anthony, and I should pay for Prime, and then I wouldn't have to suffer such trifles. But what did you think of the JPEG they released?
I did have a little bit of rage even for me, because when they said, here's a teaser for Doom, I was thinking, here we go. It's going to be a minute and a half. They're going to show some good stuff, and as you said, it was like an animated JPEG. There was some skeleton. That's good. And with a big gun, that's good. But it was just a blink of an eye. And when it finished, and I was like, we'll tell you some more soon. I was like, what? It was very funny. I did have a moment where there was a tiny bit of rage that bubbled up.
Yeah, I mean, and what is this about? We'll tell you some more soon. We were talking before, and you were saying that, wasn't it great when they held it all back, and it was like, bang, here it is. It's amazing, and that's the gaming Christmas that I remember, and that's the gaming Christmas that I want. So why didn't Bethesda just not say anything?
I think maybe it might be close to a link. They showed some stuff at a Doom event in the summer, but maybe it was close to a leak. Maybe they got some news that maybe some news source was going to leak it, and maybe they just wanted to jump out in front and say, because all of these links, when they're coming from a company, there's a whole marketing campaign behind them. So maybe they wanted to get there before anybody else did and say, here, yes, Doom is happening. Here it is, and we're going to show you more at E3. But it was just the way they did it. I mean, we're talking about it, so it has stimulated that conversation. But at the same time, I was just like, it just left me wanting more. And sometimes it's because I'm greedy. I want to see more. I want to see more now. And but hopefully, Doom will get a lot more at E3. We'll get a whole big reveal. We'll get some gameplay maybe, and we just have to wait.
We just have to wait. Yeah, I think that could be it. The leakers push, and that's why we get these early announcements, because they don't want them to steal the thunder. It's a shame, though. I'll tell you, one of my best gaming experiences ever that I can remember. It's going to make me sound really sad, but I wear it on my sleeve. Was when I was waiting for Kingdom Hearts to come out, and I don't know. This was back in. It must have been around 2002. Ish. I can't remember when it came out, but it was around that era. And so the news wasn't leaked in this way. It wasn't consumed in this way. And basically, I was waiting for Kingdom Hearts. I was looking forward to it so much. I'd watched the trailer and I was completely excited. And then one Friday night, I got home and I went onto Teletext and looked at the games news on there, which was called Digitizer in its day. It's now Game Central, I believe, and it's still one of my favourite areas to read about gaming news. But anyway, I went on to the news, and I think it might have just been the release dates, and it was Kingdom Hearts released today. And I was like, wow, this has got to be wrong. So I rang up Game. It was about 6 o'clock. I rang up Game. I said, have you got Kingdom Hearts? They were like, yeah. I was like, amazing. And I flew round to the shop and I bought it and I got it home. And I had no inkling that it was going to be out. And I bought it and I got it home and I put it on, and I've been waiting for it for so long. And I loved it. And that was a gaming Christmas for me. And that's what I want. That's what I'm always yearning for E3 to be. And I hope it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with digital content now, they can do it. Maybe they'll do it with Fable Legends, because I don't think they can have another conference where they show Fable Legends, because we've already seen that a couple of times. So maybe they might say, you remember Fable Legends? It's now free to play and it's available on Xbox Live now. they need that draw because Microsoft are up first, and they need you to not look at Sony's conference. So maybe they'll give you some good content to kind of keep you distracted, so you don't watch it. So, like I say, it'll be an interesting one. I do hope we can get some of those kind of surprises, because it's nice to just suddenly something appear just there on the dashboard waiting for you to play.
Yeah, well, it's all games now on Xbox, isn't it? And rather than TV. So I'm hoping for a surprise opening and a surprise finish. They say the best for the beginning and the last. And you know why I think it will be? Because I'm hoping, because there isn't that much that I know about on Xbox, apart from Halo 5 and a few other bits and pieces, but not really many exclusives. I'm hoping for two killer exclusives to open it and close it. I'm really hoping for that are going to make me go wow and get on my Xbox One, because it's an expensive paperweight.
Absolutely. And on that note, that's about it for this episode. So all that remains to say is a big thanks for listening to Darren and I. And it's been a real pleasure. But you can keep up with us if you want to check out our website, which is www.gamersoftheLostSpark.com. We added up an article there today. Darren wrote an article about remakes and can they live up to nostalgia. Great read. Check that one out. We're Gamers of the Lost Spark on Facebook and on iTunes. We're on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. So that's kind of the Lost Spark stuff. Darren, where can we find you online?
Yeah, if you want to catch up with me, you can get me with my gamer tag, Wythamator, on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch. And I've got Dazza Gamer as a channel on YouTube. How about you, Anthony?
I'm confusing because I'm Chessman on Xbox Live, PS-Chessman on PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. If you go to our About Us page on gamersoflostspark.com, you'll be able to find links to all of those gamer tags there. And also, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. Our email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Keep an eye on Twitter, which again is Lost Spark Pod, for updates and upcoming episodes. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, and you can get that episode as soon as it's available. If you're generous, please leave us a review or a ratings on iTunes. That would be great to hear your feedback. So that's about it for this week. Darren, say goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Catch you later. Bye.